I am here with Doug Song. He is the CEO of Duo Security, a cloud-based two-factor authentication firm. How you doing, Doug?
Great, thank you.
Thanks for being with us. So he's going to talk a little bit about the future of authentication, as well as expand into some of the threat landscape issues that we can look into going forward. So just as far as your clientele, how many of them are coming to you, wanting you to tailor things, and how many just need more education in general about two-factor? I'm just wondering which sectors are lagging a little bit.
Well, the interesting thing about our business, we've been in business since 2009, and almost all of our customers, about 4,080 countries, have been all inbound. We're seeing general interest in two-factor more or less exploding with the rise of all these breaches. And I think what's happening is that these days, everyone has something to protect. There's a login for almost anything of value. And so, we've worked really hard to make sure we build a platform that's almost universally accessible for all kinds of users. And we see it today in the broad market where everyone from Facebook and Twitter to every bank are all deploying two-factor to protect any account, whether it's high risk or not. And so, there are all kinds of different things people are doing today, from telephony-based and the legacy hardware tokens. But we also really work to pioneer new forms of authentication using mobile devices that make it a lot easier and a lot more palatable for a broad market.
And how have the threats evolved with people? I know some of your clients are like Google, and they've stepped it up as far as two-factor. How have the threats evolved against users?
It's been interesting as organizations have kind of turned themselves inside out by having all their IT infrastructure, be distributed, go cloud, go SaaS, all their users go remote, often using mobile devices that the organization doesn't even own, much less manage. There's a huge attack surface that presents itself. And smart attackers these days have figured out it's much more efficient to go after users versus systems and ride in that access to anything of value. And so, the rise of phishing and malware and automated attacks since 2005, when the first Brazilian banking Trojans came out, I think has led to an explosion in the success of large-scale breaches like the world's never seen before. And even last year, 12 months, we've seen 5 of the top 10 breaches happen, and I think it's only going to accelerate.
Now, as far as wearable devices, everyone has been talking about BYOD and how that's already been brought into the workspace. But what about, the watch or the head device? How is that going to impact the, future threat landscape? And will that, automatically usher people into authentication without passwords?
Yes, I'm recording with my new Google glasses here now.
Right.
No, I hope that doesn't happen. I hope I just think socially, things like Google Glass and so forth could present a real problem. But I do think that, certain consumer technologies have found their legitimate use in the enterprise. For instance, all our own personal mobile devices, they're now, number one, they're faster and better networked than our computers were 5 years ago. So they're actually really useful as a workplace device. And I think that we're going to start to see that happen with others. I think watches and things like that, and we'll see. I'm not sure that Google Glass is going to necessarily. We'll see how people feel about that. But I think as organizations learn to place increasing trust in other vendors, and security becomes the responsibility of these vendors to actually add, and it's not just sort of a third party opportunity anymore. We're going to see folks say, okay, any iOS device is okay, or we're going to trust any Windows phone or what have you. But we need ways in which we can manage security across all that. So I think the shift in security will be from folks actually managing security, implementing it themselves, to figuring out how they broker the security between cloud services that they effectively manage by contract, BYOD, which they just have to negotiate really with users and some set of mobile controls that allow them to say, well, that kind of device is okay for this access, but that one is not. And then again, what they can build themselves. So it's things are getting better in some ways, but just more complicated in others.
Well, we do have to wrap up, but thanks for being with us. Again, I'm here with Doug Song. He's the founder and CEO of Duo Security. And please stay tuned because we have a lot more lined up for you guys.